Top of the day, everybody. I originally had a lot more planned to do, some more that I'm going to get done to go out and do today. And my plan was to go to sleep around midnight, wake up about 8 in the morning, bright and early, and then go to sleep at midnight, turned into going to sleep at like 2:30 finally. Then my girlfriend woke me up because there was a spider on the ceiling, so I had to liquidate that problem. Around 3, finally fell asleep sometime between 3:30, bug in my face. It's like 3:30 and 3:15 and 3:30 or something like that. And then woke up at 9 and just slimed myself out of bed. So the main thing I need to do, I'm still gonna go do because I need to do it. But the other stuff I was gonna do, I was originally gonna do a little bit of adventuring today beyond this, but not happening. But what I am gonna do is kind of a mixed venture, because I have a film coming out. Well, not coming out, but a film that I'm gonna begin shooting on starting September 17th. And I believe September 19th I have the most complicated exteriors in terms of location, other people being around, sounds of traffic, audio anomalies, all that stuff. But yeah, September 19th is when I'm planning on shooting that. And since I came up with this scene, I knew the exact area I wanted to film it. But I need to get those locations set. I need to have backup locations set for my main planned ones in case there's an issue with the one I want to use, my number one decision. So I'm going out to what I call the Eastside Industrial District. It's essentially lines the east side of the Willamette River across from downtown, just lined with old warehouse buildings, and it's got a grungy vibe to it, so it really fits the scene, which I don't want to unveil too much. But essentially, my main character works with a land property kind of redevelopment and adjustment company. I don't really know how to describe it right now because it's too early in the day. And she's with the other lead in the film, and she's having a look at a property, and she's got her along with her. And they end up encountering a druggie in that area, and comedy ensues. And there's like 3 locations I gotta have set for that. So I'm gonna go out there, gonna get some specific locations down as far as where I want to shoot stuff, so it's done and out of the way. But it's also a very historical area that a lot of people don't pay much attention to, because a lot of the roads that cross the river from that point into downtown get elevated, and all these buildings are kind of just under them. So the Eastside Industrial District kind of gets forgotten because it's kind of under the roadways that everybody goes down, but it's real gritty, it's real cool, and there's a lot of history there. So I figured, the amateur historian can get a fun little video out of it. Steve the amateur historian. So I missed my bus by like a second, and then the Max came in, so I ended up just getting on there because I would have been waiting 15 minutes. So now I'm way over by the convention center, so I gotta go south a few blocks. once we get across right here where I-84 and I-5 come together. We're now on the essentially the northernmost fringe of the Eastside industrial area, because it kind of begins, get to this intersection and go down here a little ways. You might be able to see through here this white building back here. It's the Eastside Exchange building. Has some pretty cool history to it, but that's kind of where it begins. This building very much has that like old factory vibe. I love old buildings that had this like elevated portion in the middle, little tower. From my understanding, this was a furniture factory or furniture store plant at one time. I could be wrong. This hideous monstrosity sticking its face in the middle of this cool old area. But once you kind of get under this bridge, this might be Burnside here, I'm not 100% certain, but I know once you get to the other side it becomes a lot more industrial. You can hear it on the other side of this fence where there's a skate park. It was actually prominently featured in the Gus Van Sant film Paranoid Park. Not a great movie. I definitely prefer Elephant. But yeah, you can get skaters over there. You know, skate park under the bridge. It's an interesting concept. Holy jeez, I'm getting so sick of seeing these all over Portland. There was a lot of something here. They're just slowly one by one. And yeah, this is the Salvation Army building up here. I'm pretty sure they're going to demo that at some point too. However, they were kind enough to restore the town, I don't know if it's called the town building, town paper building, but this building was in severe disrepair, and a really cool old example of, you know, just a cool old brick warehouse. You can see how clean the windows are. It's because these windows are only like a year old, if that. See, this part's a little sketchy. This road, yeah, but look at this. I have pictures of this place before it got fixed up, and it was in rough condition. I almost kind of like this spot as a possible location. I'm at, I don't know, there's no freaking cross sign here. And if I'm correct, I'm a little long in the tooth in terms of last time I did research on these cool old buildings, but I want to say there was like a paper company working out of here. It kind of became a storage facility, and you know, it's kind of shoved off in the corner. There's not really a whole lot, you know, going on here, so it was just kind of over here dying. Though what's really cool about this building is what is to be seen on the other side. It has a very distinct appearance. Yeah, see, you can kind of see how it angles out and then angles back, so it's like the furthest outward point is in the middle. It's really cool. I mean, this has definitely got possibility right here. You've got this in the background. You could imply, I'm trying to infer my characters come from like a location this way. She comes across almost diagonal, meets the guy. I want it to be at an intersection. This isn't quite an intersection. This is 2nd and Ash, Produce Row. Of course, there's a homeless camp right over there, but you never know where those are going to be. But this is really good. It's really quiet here, which I like. The further down we get, the more the roads start going over the buildings. There's 2nd and Ash. I mean, it's kind of you got this beat up fence line. We're not going to be here that long. I also, in addition to where I filmed the scene with them, I'm pretty sure I know where I'm gonna have her and the other character. The building they have them look at. Jeez. But I also have to find a spot where I'm gonna have her car parked, because they flee to her car after dealing with the druggie, and then he comes, you know, running up on them. So I have to have a spot where her car is parked. These are businesses, so I don't want to do it over there. This is 2nd and Oak, so it's Oak Street. Yeah, look at this place. Coast Auto Supply. Permit parking daily. And no parking, I guess. Oh, okay, so 2-hour visitor parking. I don't know. I don't know if I choose this to have her park her car. It's possible. I mean, if we're filming it here, we're just pulling off to the side of the road and filming. This says 2-hour visitor parking, Monday through Friday. And maybe the druggie could be at this intersection. There's another possibility for that. He could be like here-ish. Or, you know, he could be like hanging out over here. And she comes theoretically from another direction over here and meets up with him. Because, I mean, look at this backdrop. And as long as we don't hop the fence, we're not violating any rules. So, here at 2nd and Oak, a definite possibility. Those old steps. Even the steps in this place are rotting away. Ah, and this is the old Olympic cereal mill building, which you can see from like 50 light years away because it's a big yellow building. There's a naked woman over there with a guy. Yeah, I don't judge. Yeah, it's a guy with a camera back there. See that red spot? There's a guy standing with a naked woman. But he had a camera, so I'm assuming they're doing photography. It was just interesting to look over and see this guy helping a naked woman down off of a pillar. Portland. Oh my god. There's people behind us. One of them just said, "Look out for the naked lady doing a film shoot." Oh my god, this chick looks fucking crazy. She was just looking right at her. Okay. This is almost a little too secluded. This is 2nd and Washington. Hey, Pidgey. This just... I don't know. This area definitely industrial-wise, like... I guess any number, like, this building could totally serve as... Even this building, either of these buildings both look potentially like they could not be in use, even though they probably are. So these could either serve, these buildings could serve a double meaning. They could serve as a place, there's a guy selling his dad's old store earlier in the film. Or, you know, the place that my two leads are looking at when they encounter this druggie. There's a really cool old Portland storage building that's huge. A Mesher Supply, my friend used to work there. I just came up a block. But yeah, look at the Olympic cereal building behind me, huge. I see it work. Vanilla produce. So reportedly a serial killer actually worked in this place. I can't remember which one it was, but they worked in this place as Vanilla Produce. See? And see, here's another kind of empty lot behind the... It's the Montage, like, macaroni restaurant place. But on the back of the building, there's an old sign. I don't know how well you can see it, but it says Hotel Royal. Or maybe it was Royale. So this used to be a small hotel. And there's the Weatherly building. Tallest building on the east side of the whatever. So, that building right there, definitely. You see, a lot of these buildings kind of look like they might not be in use, even though they probably are. I love this spot. We're kind of a little close. Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard's only one street down, so we would get... but honestly, you know, you've got the overpasses beginning here. None back that way. You've got that traffic here. It's really not that loud. I don't foresee this really messing with my audio that much. This building here, which would be at 2nd and Alder, that's a potential building. That building almost looks like it's run down and not being used. So 2nd and Alder, Portland Storage, and another slightly smaller storage building back here. So my 3rd and Alder and continuing on. There's that smell again. And here's where there's a lot of cool buildings and a lot of cool history, but there's also a lot of overpasses, which means a lot of traffic noises. And yeah, there was a shooting here, like, I don't know, 2 months ago. There was a shooting at the Montage Macaroni place. Someone walked in and just shot someone. And then you've got this big-ass Portland storage building. And for production value, I'd love to shoot at least something near or under one of these. I'm thinking about having my lead have her car parked and see like one of these areas. It's 2-hour parking, which is perfect. Look at how it looks under here. This is definitely what I was going for. John Deere plow company building. So while this is a big Portland storage building, there has been for a while, it was originally like a plant for like John Deere. In a perfect world, a setup like that, where they're under one of the overpasses, that's a perfect world scenario. But there's a lot of people around, and I just assume do that where there's a lot of action when there's in an area where there's not as many people around. And that being said, I'm coming to Belmont. This is the next overpass between these cool old city liquidator buildings. Or I don't know if this one is too, but here's Belmont. So this is another perfect world situation. There's a lot of homeless people down here. And that could be a potential hitch in our objectives to try to park there. We might just have to utilize another spot down here because I don't think we'd be in any real danger, but I don't want my actors to feel endangered. Boy, I've always loved this sign. It actually starts getting a little nicer in this area. You start deviating away from the homeless people, but at the same time, that's primarily because this area is a little more open and you start seeing more people. This is the building I'm really contemplating using as the one that she's going to prep to sell when they're first talking to each other. Because you got the railroad tracks down here, and I feel like it's a really good fit. That was my initial desire. Look how from here you can still see the Moda Center way down there. But yeah, this is a really cool building. And I love the idea of having them be somewhere near these railroad tracks because of this cinematic value we have right here. And then of course down there as well. It's not that, crowded with people here, which I really like. And stay off the tracks themselves. That's what these are here for. I'm saying that as I hear a train coming. Don't go on the tracks. Oh, people. Oh, man. It's an Amtrak. Jesus. So I really like doing it from an angle like this, maybe here, or in the shadow of these trees, which means if it's a sunny day, we won't get blinded. You know, there's not a lot going on here, because there's not a lot going on with this place. And you've got this in the background, and then you've got this building. It's really cool. And because over here, you'll see that there's businesses still in here, but on this side, you can't really tell. It totally looks like it could be up for reload or repurposing. Really cool ghost sign. So yeah, so the idea I have is that they're here, regardless of where the druggie scene is. They're here in this general area, looking at this building, and the guy that they see would be theoretically like right over there. So I'm having to like jump cut, shooting everything this way, and then when I do the druggie scene, shooting primarily everything that way. So you won't be able to tell that the place where she meets him is not the spot behind me, because there's obviously no open space for me to do that here. But I feel like this further bolsters my desire to shoot that scene by this building, is actually coming back to it and seeing how perfect of a fit it is. This Empire Rubber and Supply Company building is pretty cool. Looks a little abandoned-ish. Jeepers creepers. This area here, there's a lot of traffic. You've got freeway off-ramps. You've got a lot of stuff coming together right here, so that's perceivably an issue. If I aimed the mics this way all the time, that might help. Oh, this is a pretty cool building. I was thinking maybe a place where she encounters the druggie, because it's got this very open, urban landscape, but there's a lot of noise. And at least when they run to the car and get in, most of the audio is inside the car, so this stuff won't be an issue. And I was thinking, as I have them run away, I would have them utilize one of these staircases that go up. So I think this is the bridge. This goes across the Hawthorne Bridge, which is right over there. So this gets you up there so you can get potentially to the bus stop right there. And I like the idea of having them while they're fleeing, because they have to flee this druggie, showing them running up one of these staircases, and then I can jump ahead to them arriving at another point near the river. I'm thinking Almsey up here. Okay, Main Street. Main Street and water, Main Street and salmon. There's another spot we could potentially have them park not too far down, because there's big homeless campers down here. But there's potential here. You know, if we park close enough, we could have them run from their car in this general vicinity, and then right over to the staircase right here as a method of escaping. So this is at Madison and Water. You see, we've got another setup like this, where we've got all these this underground parking. Maybe even over here. Yeah, this is Madison and Water, but you know, along here we can maybe have her parked. And you've still got that vibe. There's not a lot of homeless people. It's a lot more. It seems a lot more watched over. And then there's Hawthorne, and then this cool building. I don't really know what this building's used for, but it's awesome. I'm gonna walk this way a bit though, because there's a little bit of history over here. And then this area is a little bit cleaner, if I can put it that way. Oh, well, I spoke too soon. But yeah, here's this is like the Portland cement like warehouse building. Look at how cool this place is. And then again, you've got this really cool view. And then the tracks just kind of venture off that way. So here's another, it's surprisingly quiet with all the traffic here. Yeah, the Oregon Portland Cement Company. Look at the visages. It's so cool. I love this building. Look at the entryway. That is so great. And yeah, you know, this is a spot I can, maybe, 2-hour visitor parking. That's pretty much it. Pretty much standard 2-hour parking. As long as you're not parked in the zone, we can park right here. And like not leave the car here, but when we're filming, park in a spot like right there. We'd be here for like 30 minutes. So that's a possibility. think I missed the cash building. I can maybe see us doing a shot where they run through here. This fucking idiot almost hit me. Anyway, so there's potential. I don't know. I don't know if this is parking. No, yeah. This is also 2-hour parking. So it's kind of standard 2-hour parking through here. No meters to pay. So it's even more quiet on this block. I think I'm still on Main Street, so lots of parking possibilities. This building's not even being used. We could park right in front of that and not even be disturbing business. Have them run around that corner, run to the car, get in. He shows up, they have to run back that way. I could see that working here. And this is Madison and 2nd right here, so this would be Madison and 3rd. Yeah, right here on Main Street, this is, I think, my best bet to shoot them the car stuff. This is why I'm glad I came out here, so I could find stuff like that. Hey, you know, I do need a new office chair. Are these theater seats? Or at least theater-esque seats? That's pretty cool. Okay, and then this is Hawthorne, another block. Oh, we got another staircase. So here at Hawthorne and 3rd is another potential staircase we could have the characters run up if it's closer. It's between 3rd and 2nd and Hawthorne. Oh. I see why it's so quiet. No park. What the heck happened to my focus? Okay. Yeah, no parking. That's why it's so open. Well, it was a good... I mean, it looks like there's more parking down here. Yeah, that says 2-hour visitor parking again, so... There's another possible spot. I don't think it's quite as good. Now that he's got quite the photogenic vibe next to the tennis uniform. But there is. We got another stairwell here along the railway lines and Hawthorne. Here's this cool building that I've never really noticed before. Look at that facade. It's kind of got a boring entrance, but the rest is classy. And then there's these guys that are just all over town. These little scooters. Yeah, and then this is a little too out in the open. I want something a little bit more secluded for parking. And Water Avenue, you start getting a lot more traffic through here. Skip. And the buildings start getting a lot newer, like this one right here. But this is a pretty cool building that I kind of haven't noticed before. Yeah, and then once you get down here, it starts just getting too loud. You're pretty much at the end of the Eastside industrial area because you got OMSI right up here. You know, this building's at least altered, if not new. This building's new. And then if you go up here, I believe, is the site of the old electric building right up over there that I went to. The Taylor Electric building's right up there. So it's knee deep in this industrial area. I need to catch a bus. Hopefully it's going to come off the Tillicum crossing there. But literally, if you look right over there, right over that edge, there's a path that goes down, and there's like an open space down by the water by OMSI, just south of it. That's where I really want to film. If I have to go to the other side of the Tillicum crossing to have it be a little bit more quiet, I might film there. But that's the general area where I want to film my two lead characters. They get away from the drugging, they finally get to a spot where they're like, oh, okay, we have to stop running. And take a breath and then reconfigure themselves and figure out what they're going to do about their situation. I want to film that just off kind of down this path that these people are going down. And if all goes well, that will happen. Fortunately, that's the one thing I have concern about is just um, being hassled by passersby, people talking to us while we're trying to film. So I'm trying to film in areas that are around here, around this cool industrial area, because it's got some really good production value potential. But I don't want people walking up to us and be like, "Hey, what are you doing?" People do that in the middle, right in the middle of your freaking take. You're obviously filming and catching audio and doing something. Someone will yell at you, "Hey, you making a movie?" in the middle of your take. Um, I think that just gave me inspiration to do a film about annoying things people do when you're trying to make a film in the city, especially when you're an indie filmmaker like me who doesn't have the money to block roads off and keep people away. I think I'm gonna do that. All right, I hope you guys at least somewhat enjoyed that. That was really more for my needs than it was for yours, but I figured, I haven't really been out here much. Um, the industrial area, even though I think it's kind of a cool area. And I just discussed a little bit of history. And because I was so not focused on the historical aspect and more searching for scouting locations, I'm going to include here, because I I edited this together, and then I never posted it on my old channel, so it's technically unposted material. When I was putting together a documentary that I never quite finished, just about cool areas of Portland, I did a section on the Eastside industrial district. So as I say goodbye now, I'm gonna play that now for you guys and give that for you to see, to give you a little bit more history on this area, so you won't feel too gypped by today's venture. Anyway, stay tuned for that video starting the moment I fade out, and I'll see you guys next time. While the 13th Avenue district is regarded as the major historical warehousing hub of the early 1900s in Portland, and it's still a hustling and bustling place today, many don't realize there is an equally significant and in many ways more diverse warehousing district just across the river from downtown. I choose to call it the Eastside Warehouse District. Which makes this area so interesting is that with the numerous bridges constructed over the years traveling into downtown, much of this area is hidden under various overpasses. It's also because of this that there is a very large homeless population living down here. You never know what you'll find in this location. I've uncovered needles, items set on fire, and even a kitchen knife one time. A warehousing district managed to flourish here, however, because, as with the west side, a major railroad line travels right through here, making distribution a piece of cake. However, this district came, it seems, on the heels of its predecessor, with most of its buildings being constructed in the 1920s. And unlike the 13th Avenue district, each warehouse here seems to have more or less its own theme. One of these gems is the Oregon Portland Cement Company building, located on Madison Street. Masked by an on-ramp to the Hawthorne Bridge, this building stands as a memory for one of the city's most successful businesses. With their plant standing along the Willamette River in Lake Oswego, this place was built to house their main corporate offices, while also serving as a distribution hub. You travel a few blocks north along Taylor Street, you'll find a ghost sign gem. This is the International Harvesters building. Built in 1912, this was initially built as an investment property, but primarily served as a warehouse for the Southern Pacific Railroad, which was convenient considering its placement right along the railway line. But before this, the building was used for ventures into the field of agriculture, which is where its name comes from. And a few blocks away, you're going to find another present-day warehouse with an agricultural history. This behemoth, the largest and one of the earliest warehouses in the district, is the John Deere Plow Building. Built in 1911, this was the John Deere Tractor Company's primary Portland office, which it remained for 50 years. And since then, it has stood primarily for use as a storage warehouse, and I've heard that there are literally hundreds of storage facilities within this structure. Dwarfed by the Great John Deere building,
just a block away, is a location many locals know as the site of the restaurant Montage, which I frequented many times. However, for a long time, this location was actually a hotel, the Hotel Royale, as denoted by the ghost sign on the back of the building. There was even once a sign that said Royal Hotel along the west side of the building. That no longer is there. Little is known about the history of this location. Built in 1905, it clearly utilized the classic businesses on the bottom floor, hotel rooms upstairs motif of many older hotels in the area. Another nearby storage warehouse style building, also nestled away in secret below an overpass, is the old Jones Cash Building located on Belmont Street. Built in 1921, this location originally housed a mail order business's warehouse, which, again located right along the railway line, made outward shipments a piece of cake. Alas, mail order powerhouse Montgomery Ward had made a name for themselves in Portland, and they bought out the Jones Company only a couple years after they moved into this building. For years, this location was owned by Northwest Ice and Cold Storage and was essentially transformed into one huge ice box. Fortunately, though, in recent years, this building has received a massive makeover and looks fantastic despite rapidly approaching its 100th birthday. As we move out from under the overpasses, there are several other gems scattered in this warehousing district, including the old Olympic cereal mill complex, built to serve as Portland's main production line for General Mills brand cereals. For almost a century, Slifer Furniture thrived along Grand Avenue, but what few know is they have another building just blocks away. Off the main drag, this was clearly a warehouse or something along those lines, with an original Slifer Furniture sign still hanging off its end. This is the Renalia Produce Building, which, since 1917, has primarily been used as a produce warehouse. Clotted in ghost signs, this is the Charles H. Lilly Building. Built in 1911, this place originally housed a fertilizer and seed company. But one of my favorite gems in this area stands here, at 3rd and Ankeny. Known originally as the Blake McFall Building, this massive and uniquely structured warehouse was for years the main Portland branch for the Blake McFall Company, which was a wholesale paper distributor. But by the 1950s, the company outgrew the building, and for the most part, not much has happened with this place in the prevailing 60 years. But, I simply love this place, from its present day hollowed out look to its oddly angled west side wall to the iconic water tower that stands on its northeastern end. Fortunately, the building is undergoing massive renovations and will hopefully be around for many years to come. If one then makes the short trek under the Burnside overpass, which technically moves us from southeast to northeast Portland, we find this hidden gem. Marked today as the Eastside Exchange Building, this charming structure was originally the main factory for the Ira F. Powers Furniture Company. With stores all over Portland, Powers was best known for having a massive duck on the rooftop of one of its stores. And also, in addition to being a one-time furniture factory, because of its close proximity to the river, this location was transformed into housing for ship workers during World War II. For this last location, we actually have to travel a couple miles north to the Albina neighborhood, which is technically cheating because it is a couple of miles away from these other locations, but it counts because it too is an old East Side warehouse that was strategically placed along Portland's East Side railway lines. Built in 1906, this is the one-time Acme Mills building. Acme Mills was a cereal company based on Front Street in downtown, but with the need to expand, they built this complex a few years down the road. I absolutely love this building for its location, for its just completely battered, beat-in appearance, ghost signs scattered everywhere. It is just breathtaking. And actually, one time the building had an electronic sign on its rooftop that caught fire, burning through the roof and actually severely damaging the plant. Obviously, they managed to fix this up, but because of its rustic condition, the railway presence close by, and the Fremont Bridge, perfectly placed in the background, this place is truly a photogenic place in every sense of the word, and every bit as powerful an example of Portland's once thriving Eastside warehouse district as any other place could be.